On NewsHour tonight, Christian Association of Nigeria denies 3 billion naira ransom claim as Governor Bago shuts schools. Police foil bandits attack, rescue 25 abducted victims in Zamfara. President Tinubu seeks urgent action on rising insecurity. On international scene, Tunisians escalate protests against Said, demanding return of democracy. Good evening, this is NewsHour on Trust TV. I am Chiamaka Mwafo. Now, the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, in Niger State says reports that kidnappers of 315 students and staff of St. Mary's Catholic Schools in Papiri, Agwara local government area of the state, demanding 3 billion naira is false. CAN chairman and Catholic Bishop of Kotungura Diocese, Most Reverend Bulus Johanna, on Saturday said that the gunmen had not made any contact since the abduction. A total of 303 students and 12 teachers were taken from the school, which had 629 pupils before the attack. Bishop Johanna also denied claims that the school had received prior warnings from the government, calling the reports propaganda and urging calm as authorities work to secure the victims' release. Still in Niger State, Governor Umaru Bago has ordered the closure of schools across the state following the abduction of some students and staff of St. Mary's Private Catholic Secondary School. He also assured of the state government's commitment to securing the safe return of the abductees. Addressing journalists on Saturday after an emergency meeting with service chiefs and key stakeholders at the Government House, Mina, the governor has described the incident as unfortunate and deeply saddening, noting that the state woke up to news that should never have happened. He also called for the collective support of all citizens to ensure the safe return of the abducted students.
These incidents will have been avoided. However, it's not a time for blame game. Our mission today is to see how we can rescue these children and all those that have been kidnapped in that incident. As such, we are calling on all the security agencies, civil society organizations, organized labor, clerics, to please focus on the rescue of these children. Nigeria is the only country we have, and Niger State is our state. As such, we must continue as government to protect the lives and properties of our citizens. In this decision, the stakeholders today have decided to close all schools in Niger State. Private, primary and secondary schools, missionary schools, Islamic schools, Federal Government College Mina, all Federal Government colleges as already enumerated by Federal Government of Nigeria. And if there are other schools that are in vulnerable areas, the state government will also close them down. All schools in Niger North will also be closed completely until further notice.
Joining us via phone call to give us an update on the situation in Niger State is our correspondent there, Abubakar Akote. Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for joining us on NewsHour tonight. Akote, what more can you tell us of the happenings in Niger State?
The situation now has created mixed reactions, especially with the state government announcing a total shutdown of schools across the state. Some parents who have interacted with not actually happy. Their reactions have been that the government also have identified the vulnerable areas in the state and then deal with the situation decisively instead of closing down schools. Right now, some schools are starting exams this week, and they're expected to close for the fourth time before the Christmas, that's next month. With this now, the academic calendar of schools will be crippled. And then the situation, many parents saying it's not the right decision that government ought to have taken.
All right, now there's been this back and forth between the government and the church about prior warnings about this going to take place. Have you been able to come across any document to attest to the fact that the government actually warned the school or schools about this insecurity threat, rather?
I think the state government has not clearly defended their position. Because as media practitioners, we have actually demanded for evidence of a circular issued to schools, directing them to close, and then this particular school refused. But we have not been able to get that from either the State Ministry of Education or even local government education authorities. This has actually created a kind of rift between the school and the state government. The school sees it as an attempt to undermine the integrity of the school by tagging them as an irresponsible institution. The government has not actually provided us evidence despite our demand to see if a circular was issued. The only circular we have seen was issued yesterday, November 24th, directing public and private schools to close, which happened after the St. Mary Catholic School was attacked. So that does not explain the earlier directive the government had claimed to have given to schools to close down.
All right, now, what is the current situation in this community where this has happened? Is there an increased presence of security operatives? What exactly can you tell us is the atmosphere of Papari community in Agua local government area?
Yeah, security operatives, joint security operatives, including the police and the military, have been deployed to the area, but that has not taken away the tension in the community, especially the parents who are eager to see the condition of their children. This evening, I spoke with some residents who confirmed to me that the worrisome aspect of the situation now is that the abductors have not contacted neither the school authority nor parents to even establish where they are. So right now, their location is yet to be established, which is giving parents a sense of concern.
But now, you said the parents. Have you been able to speak to any of the victims' parents?
Well, one of the parents I spoke with, his child was safe. I escaped. But I hope to speak with more that were directly affected, with children currently in captivity by grace of God in my subsequent findings. But for now, the ones I spoke with who told me that their children escaped said the situation actually is tense because most parents are not having sleepless nights, especially that the abductors have not even made any contact to tell their location or to tell their demand.
All right, away from this current community in our local government area, have you been able to get information about other parts of Niger State and what the situation is like?
Pardon?
Away from this current community where the incident took place, have you been able to get information from other parts of Niger State and what the atmosphere is like over there?
You mean the street situation in other parts of the state?
Yes, just generally the atmosphere in other parts of the state as well, security and otherwise.
Yes, this situation has sent a very wrong signal as far as the issue of our street is concerned, because it's a topic of discussion all over. And the abduction of these children was just one instance among many. Niger North, comprising Agwara, Borugu, Magama, Rijo, Mariga, Kontagora, Ushiti, as well as and Mashegu, have been under siege for the past 2 months. The attacks happen on a daily basis, kidnappings. Just last week, in our earlier report, 16 vigilantes lost their lives while trying to repel an attack by the bandits who condone a mosque while the worshippers were observing their early morning prayer. So it's something that happens on a daily basis in this zone, it has turned a fear to other residents, and the Kotogora zone is becoming very hot for even travelers because it's a connection between Niger State to other states like KB, even Sokoto and the rest. So travelers always have that fear flying Zungeru, taking up Kotogora road because of insistent appearance of these bandits on the road.
All right, thank you so much, Abubakar Kote, for giving us insights on the situation in Niger State.
Thank you.
So staying with the school closing over in Jos, parents and students in the Plateau State capital have expressed sadness over the government's decision to close all primary and secondary schools in the state. According to the parents, the decision will negatively affect them and their children. Adomusa tells us more in this report.
The Plateau State Universal Basic Education Board on Friday issued a statement directing the closure of all primary and secondary schools across the state. The board said the decision was a preventive measure to protect students from potential security threats following the recent attacks on schools in Kebbi and Niger states where students were kidnapped. Reacting to the directive, Pastor Steve Monye and Mrs. Gloria Monye, whose children were sent home after arriving for Saturday extramural lessons, expressed concern over the development.
I don't feel good about it because as you can see, my children today, because they are school, some Saturdays like that, they used to have Saturdays lesson. Only for us to come today, get into the school, they ask the students to go back, that the school is closed down for the meantime, to further notice.
Not feeling happy because we would send them there to go and learn. But because of the thing that is happening in this our country now, it's better for them to stay with us, for us to be seeing them.
Pastor Steve also criticized what he described as the government's inability to tackle insecurity in the country.
The type of government we have, I don't know what is happening now, that this insurgency cannot stop. Something that has started for a very long time. Now, to date, this situation is still at hand. I see no reason why this problem should continue.
For Prince Ifeanyi, another parent, the reasons given by the government for shutting down schools are not satisfactory.
That announcement is the reason is best known to them, because as far as I'm concerned, the whole burden lies on parents, because school fees has been paid, the hostel fees has been paid, and at the end of the whole thing, we said that the school has been closed. The students should go home without any reason. So I don't know, sir, if you can tell me their reasons for that.
They say it's because of the insecurity that the country is facing at the moment.
Nigeria is facing insecurity. So the federal government of Nigeria is now telling us that Boko Haram was whatever name they have been called. It's more than the federal government power.
Some students who were turned back after going to school for their lessons also shared their views on the situation.
I feel very unhappy and sad because that's the place where we always learn, and if we're not going to school to affect our academic.
I feel sad because we never write our examination, so it will feel somehow when they extend the time. Instead of us writing it this week, we can start writing it next week.
Dr. Jonah Ahana, a lecturer at the University of Jos, said the closure of the schools is a setback to education in the country, but maintained that the government has the capacity to address the security challenges.
Actually, it's going to affect the system generally. On the part of the students, actually they will be demoralized. Especially, I know there are some schools that are about to start exams now. So with this closure now, definitely it's going to affect their, assessments. And that is not all. It's going to have an effect on the part of the parents too. Having paid their school fees now, they are told that they should go and carry out keep their children at home. For me, it's going to demoralize the system generally.
While the state government insists the closure is temporary, the Plateau State Police Command has assured the public that it is working round the clock to ensure the safety of all communities and urge parents to be patient with the situation. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
The management of Abdullahi Fudio University of Science and Technology, Aliero in Kebbi State, has ordered the immediate closure of the institution, directing all staff and students to vacate the campus without delay. An official memo issued by the Office of the Registrar and Secretary to Council, the university announced that the shutdown takes effect immediately. The directive affects all categories of students, including postgraduate, undergraduate, diploma, remedial and IJMB students. The notice, signed by Registrar Maimaro Tili, instructed students to leave the university premises within 1 hour of the announcement. It further warned that the institution's security division has been mandated to evacuate any student found within the hostels or other restricted areas on campus. Students residing off campus, particularly in areas such as Gidangrami, were also advised to vacate their residences to avoid what the memo described as embarrassment by university security personnel. Global human rights organization Amnesty International has lent its voice against a series of attacks sweeping across Nigeria. In a statement on Saturday, the organization said the attacks, especially those on the abduction of students in the northern region of the country, are pointers to the fact that the Nigerian government is not doing enough to protect the lives and guarantee the safety of its younger generation. The reactions came after the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, confirmed the abduction of 315 students and staff members of the St. Mary's Catholic primary and secondary schools in Niger State. The humanitarian organization said some teachers in Zamfara, Katsina and Niger State informed it that insecurity has drastically reduced school attendance since 2021, as children are afraid of attending schools even when forced by their parents. While noting that attacks on schools, abductions and killings of school children demonstrate an absolute disregard for the right to life and the right to education, it called on the Nigerian authorities to protect schools and children. In Kwara State, the governor, Abdurrahman Abdurrazak, has held a Security Council meeting where commanders and top government officials reviewed strategies to strengthen public safety and curtail the threats of organized kidnapping gangs. The governor received briefings from security commanders following the Tuesday attack on Iruku community in Ekiti local government area of the state. Addressing a press briefing on the council meeting, Commissioner of Police Ojo Adekimi told reporters that the council meeting harvested insights from the security commanders on recent happenings and field intelligence in the aftermath of the Iruku incident, including efforts of the security agencies to track down the perpetrators and rescue the victims. He added that the security agencies also arrested a man who confessed to fixing weapons for the kidnappers. The Kwara Commissioner of Police, who said the Security Council meeting was convened by Governor Abdul Razak, expressed commitment of the government and the security agencies to rescue the abducted persons unhurt.
The meeting harvested insights from the security commanders on recent happening and field intelligence in the aftermath of the Iruku incident, including effort of security agencies to track down the perpetrators and rescue the victims. The meeting commended heightened security deployment, especially air interdictions which have dislodged the kidnappers from their former hideouts, especially in Ifelodu. It calls for continuous air bombardment of areas identified as hideouts. The meeting specifically commended the military, police, and DSS for new deployment in the state. In line with the directive of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, a few days ago, the IGP, PhD, has deployed 4 different tactical teams, namely the SWAT, Special Weapons and Tactics, Intelligent Response Team, IRT, Special Intervention Squad, SIS, and Special Tactical Squad, SCS, to Kwara to neutralize further threats. The police and DSS reported several arrests of drugs, food, and fuel supplies linked to the criminal, as well as a man who confessed to 50 weapons for the kidnappers.
The Federal Ministry of Education has dismissed a message circulating on social media claiming that schools nationwide have been directed to shut down from November 24, 2025. In a statement issued on Saturday, the ministry described the message as false and misleading, adding that it did not originate from the federal government, the Federal Ministry of Education, any state ministry of education, or any recognized security agency. The disclaimer, signed by Folashade Boreowo, the ministry spokesperson, urged members of the public to rely strictly on verified information from official channels. The ministry stressed that only communications from the federal government, the Federal Ministry of Education, state governments, and recognized security agencies should be considered authentic. This clarification comes on the heels of the federal government's announcement on Friday ordering the closure of 41 federal secondary schools in high-risk areas following a spate of abductions in Niger and Kebbi states. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has said that insecurity troubles him more than any other challenge facing Nigeria, warning that unless trust is rebuilt, security threats will persist, economic stagnation will deepen, and educational deficits will worsen. Represented by the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, the President made the remarks at the 25th anniversary of the Arewa Consultative Forum and the launch of the Forum's Endowment Fund on Saturday in Kaduna. Trust TV's Bella Musa tells us more.
Renewed insecurity and other challenges confronting the North dominated discussions at the 25th anniversary celebration of the Arewa Consultative Forum held at the Umar Musa Adwa Hall in Kaduna. President Tinubu, in his address delivered by Speaker Tajuddin Abbas, reaffirmed his administration's commitment to eliminating terrorist and bandit groups in the region and reversing the North's economic decline.
But we arrived at a time when northern Nigeria faces one of the greatest tests of its endurance: the corrosion of security, the erosion of communal values, and the distortion of the moral compass. Unless trust is rebuilt, security challenges will persist, economic stagnation will deepen, and educational deficits will widen. This is the reality we must confront with courage and realism.
The Deputy President of the Senate, Barau Jibril, expressed confidence that despite the numerous challenges facing the country, Nigeria will one day overcome them.
Sit down with our governors, our leaders, ACF leadership. Let's look at these problems again. If the Southwest can do it, if the Southwest could do it, we can do it as well.
The ACF has remained a stabilizing force, offering moral guidance in moments of national reflection and contributing to the cohesion of the northern states and Nigerian Federation as a whole.
Also speaking, the chairman of the ACF Board of Trustees, Bashir Al-Hatu, alongside other dignitaries, stressed the need for sustainable solutions to end insecurity in the region.
We are holding this event today in the face of a sharp resurgence of violence and insurgency in virtually all parts of the North, indeed in all of Nigeria.
They are driven by the memory of a united Nigeria and the fervent hope for its peaceful, prosperous future. We are a nation. While preaching unity in northern Nigeria, please let us also preach unity in the whole of Nigeria. The problem with Nigeria is injustice. The Silver Jubilee provides us with an opportunity to reflect deeply on the future of our nation, Nigeria. Nigeria stands today at a crossroad. We are confronted by the evil of unimaginable violence, declining public trust, and the fraying of social bond. Yet, I remain convinced that Nigeria is not without hope.
The event ended with a collective call by various speakers urging political elites to work harder to strengthen Nigeria's democracy as well as unity in the North and the country at large. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
In Borno State, Babagana Zulum, the governor, has declared Monday a day of prayer and fasting, seeking the restoration of peace in the state following recent security challenges in parts of the country. In a statewide broadcast, the governor noted that despite the resurgence of attacks, the state recorded improvements in food security. He pledged continued support to boost agricultural productivity and reaffirmed his administration's commitment to enhancing security efforts. The governor commended security agencies for their resilience against terrorism and urged residents to join in praying for lasting peace.
The Borno State government remains committed to supporting farmers with inputs and agrochemicals. The continued support is to ensure year-round farming in order to achieve food sufficiency across the state. Despite the recent sporadic attacks, Borno State has witnessed a reasonable degree of stability. However, the unfolding situation in the state, the nation, and the globe is a matter of great concern to us. Let me commend the people of Borno State for their steadfastness and commitment to the cause of peace. This has demonstrated through relentless prayers, fasting, and continued support for our gallant troops in the front line, the civilian JTF hunters and vigilantes. Indeed, your resilience has been a source of inspiration and strength to me and to the entire administration. As people of faith, we believe our security strategies must be underpinned by prayers. I hereby declare Monday, 24th November 2025 as a statewide day of fasting and prayer for the restoration of peace in Borno State and the country in general. On this day, I call upon every resident of Borno State, regardless of faith, to join in prayer for the lasting peace and prosperity of our beloved state and Nigeria. Consequently, let us therefore devote ourselves to constant prayers, seeking Almighty God's mercy.
In Zamfara State, the police command says it has rescued 25 kidnapped victims unhurt. It said the rescue of the kidnapped victims who were abducted at Kureje village in Damba area of Guzo local government area was due to the swift professional response of its operatives. A statement by the police public relations officer said on 21st November 2025 at about 9:45 p.m. a group of armed bandits in large numbers, wielding dangerous weapons and firing sporadically, attacked Kureje village in the Damba area of Guzo local government area. According to the command, during the attack, the assailants abducted 10 women, along with 15 of their children, all residents of the community. Upon receiving the distress report, joint police patrol teams from Damba Division and the Department of Operations Guzo, working in collaboration with the Community Protection Guards, swiftly mobilized to the scene of the incident, pursued the fleeing bandits, and engaged them in a coordinated and strategic operation. The victims were immediately relocated to Sapongari Damba for safety and proper profiling. The command said the rescued women and children have since been reunited with their families. It is still on to News Hour on Trust TV. We'll return from the break. We'll take a look at how Nigerian youths are earning through digital creativity. To stay with us, the news continues. Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Now a recap of our top stories. We told you that the Christian Association of Nigeria denies 3 billion naira ransom claim as governor of Niger State shuts schools. Also told you that police for bandits attack rescue 25 adopted victims in Zamfara State. Two more stories. Senator Sireki Dixon has explained why he recused himself from the Senate committee investigating former Petroleum Minister Timpere Silva over an alleged $14.8 million fund diversion. Dixon, representing Bayelsa West, said he left the committee because the investigation was selective and not comprehensive, focusing only on one transaction rather than the management of the entire fund. He added that as Silva is a former governor of his state, he follows a personal policy of not contributing to the downfall of political opponents. Dixon emphasized that his approach to politics is service-driven, anchored on fairness and God, and that he avoids destructive politics. He also said the committee has the authority to proceed with its investigation. Reacting to the allegation, Sylvia's aide, Julius Bukuru, called the FCC's declaration a coordinated political onslaught aimed at damaging the former minister's reputation. The 2023 Labour Party presidential candidate, Peter Obi, has criticized the federal government's handling of the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu's case, insisting that dialogue remains the only viable path to peace. Obi stated this in an expose on Saturday, warning that Kanu's conviction could worsen national tension. The former Anambra State governor lamented that the development came at a time when Nigerians face severe economic hardship, insecurity, and the consequences of poor governance. Obi stated that the government has handled the case from the outset and failed to explore peaceful means to resolve it. Obi urged national leaders to prioritize reconciliation and called on the presidency, the Council of State, and respected statesmen to intervene and seek a political solution. Panic broke out on Saturday in Obolo Ebubu Eleme community, Eleme local government area of Rivers State, after one of the multi-millionaire water projects being executed by the Hydrocarbon Pollution Remediation Project, HYPREP, suddenly collapsed, releasing a massive flow of water into residential areas and streets. The incident occurred barely 3 weeks after a similar failure was recorded at another HYPREP water project in Gwara community, Kana local government area, just 4 days after it was commissioned by the Minister of Environment. Trust TV reports that HYPREP is currently implementing 16 water projects across Ogoni land as part of the ongoing cleanup program initiated to address decades of environmental pollution caused by oil exploration. Since 2016, the federal government has allocated billions of naira for the Ogoni cleanup, which HYPREP is mandated to execute. Confirming the incident in a statement on Saturday, HYPREP's head of communications, Eluolari Mwigwo, said the affected water station has been cordoned off to ensure public safety. 3 persons have been confirmed dead in a gas explosion that rocked the Biodun Aladu area of Onoara local government area of Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, on Friday night. Although unconfirmed reports say many lives were lost in the explosion, the Oyo State Fire Service team, led by the General Manager Akinyinka Akinyemi, who was among the first responders on the scene, confirmed 3 casualties. Reports indicated that the explosion occurred while a tanker was discharging gas into a retail outlet. The casualties were said to include the owner of the gas shop and others who were nearby at the time of the incident. The General Manager of Oyo State Fire Services Agency, Akinyinka, who confirmed the incident, said contrary to the claim by some that several people lost their lives, 3 lives were lost, including the shop owner and those dispensing the gas. He added that operatives were promptly deployed to contain the situation. Akinyinka said normalcy has since returned to the area as those affected have been evacuated. A medical investigation has finally put to rest the controversies surrounding the sudden death of a secondary school teacher in Oyo State, confirming that he died from myeloma and cardiorespiratory failure. Trust TV's correspondent obtained the details during a post-death visit to the bereaved's family.
Barely a month ago, the death of Mr. Fatai Adegoki, a teacher at Shoun High School, Ikuye, Ogbomosho, sparked mixed reactions, with many alleging he was attacked by suspected student cult groups due to his discipline and dedication to duty. However, the body was taken for proper medical examination and the autopsy has now dispelled those rumors. As condolences continue to pour in, the principal of the school, Reverend Ajayi Adeyinka, representatives of the Nigerian Union of Teachers, NUT, the Post-Primary Teaching Service Commission, TESCOM, and other education stakeholders recounted their experiences with the late teacher, describing him as gentle, easygoing, and deeply committed to his work.
It came to us as a rude shock, and immediately the workings of the Nigerian of teacher will have it in a kind of organogram, where we have the branch officers, the state officer, and the national officer. So at that point in time, we have to get across to the branch officers in Ogbomoso, precisely the zonal chairman of Ogbomoso and one of our national officer, who is also a teacher in Ogbomoso, a principal in Ogbomoso.
The stakeholders collectively dismissed the false claims surrounding Mr. Adegoke's death.
Because one of the boys is a son to his friend. So because of that, he has to wait to call them, at least to scold them. So now in an attempt to do that, that boy raised his elbow. So his hand accidentally hit that elbow. And immediately the hand got swollen. And the school took him to the hospital for the treatment. And in about 2-3 days, and he returned back home that very day with the medication to maintain, to stabilize him for that day. So all this while, he has to come, before then, he has to come for the permission to go to the hospital for checkup.
I came with my team and my directors and the LIA to address the student on 2 occasions, so that this incidence of truancy will be reduced to the barest minimum. So in a nutshell, it wasn't the boy that caused or his action of that day that led to the demise of Mr. Fatai. It was just unfortunate that the incident he had over the years led to, the medical people call it bone marrow cancer. And he's been receiving treatment on this.
Meanwhile, the surviving wife, Mrs. Adegoke, explained that her husband unknowingly battled a terminal illness until his death. She said the condition was medically confirmed by a team from the Ladoke Akintola University Teaching Hospital, Ogbomoso, and urged Nigerians to prioritize their health.
On behalf of my family, I am appealing for assistance. Only 2 of us remain, as we have lost the other 2. I urgently need support to raise my surviving children so they can live and build a better future.
Experts, however, believe that the Oyo state government should take responsibility for the welfare of the late teacher's immediate family and ensure his benefits are promptly processed, especially as he died while actively serving.
Following the creation of additional emirates and chiefdoms in Bauchi State through the signing of the chieftaincy appointment and deposition law by Governor Bala Mohammed, financial experts have expressed concern about how these new institutions will be sustainably funded, given the state's current economic realities. Trust TV's Adamu Imam spoke to some residents on the development and sent in this report.
The development brings the total number of emirates in the state to 19. Up from the original 6. Governor Bala Mohammed explained that the reform is driven by merit and necessity aimed at addressing long-standing demands for new traditional institutions and not politically motivated. But reactions have continued to trail the creation of the new emirates and chiefdom, with some highlighting the benefit as well as the financial implications.
Perspective, I look at it in 2 ways. First, I will agree that government can fund it. The reason is that, you see, first of all, in everything there is an action plan. I believe it didn't just come up a day. There was a plan for it. And definitely, if there is a plan for it, the government should be able to have an innovative ways of how to fund some of the new emirate and chiefdom.
Some residents believe the move will bring governance closer to the people, which they say could further strengthen the effectiveness of leadership at the local level.
But it should be done in a manner that will not divide the people instead of uniting them. I don't agree that every tribe should have its own traditional institution. Thereby, it will break the fabric, especially in northern Nigeria that we are. It will break the fabric of unity and understanding.
In my own opinion, it will start well. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a trouble idea. because it will give a negative impact for those even that will work as an employees to the Emirates.
Like in Bauchi State, issues that need to be solved from far remote areas to the town here is a very long one that people can easily get where to take their cry to, particularly in the remote areas where these emirates were being created.
According to the government, the initiative aims to give voice to previously marginalized ethnic groups and to correct historical imbalances, while also safeguarding cultural heritage, languages, and traditions in the face of modernization. Adami Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Nigeria's creator economy isn't just lifestyle entertainment. It's work, income, and opportunity. For every young person with a phone and a story, there's now a path to create, connect, and earn. This space is where influence meets innovation. It's a digital ecosystem powered by talent, technology, and an audience that pays attention. In this report, Rashidat Oyewole looks at how young creators turn their cameras into cash.
Content creation has moved from pastime to profession for many Gen Z Nigerians. Writing scripts, shooting videos, and editing clips now form the backbone of a growing digital career. For thousands of young people, this work pays. Lifestyle videos, comedy skits, tutorials, fashion clips, and brand influencing all feed into one target: turning attention into income.
If I decide that I don't want to do any job today and focus solely on content creation, I'm going to make good money from content creation. You need to invest in it. So in the process of you investing, the best is to have something that you're doing. Maybe you have like someone that is like giving you money, like your parents. And my parents supported me when I was doing, as I was creating content before I started making money on my own.
Content creation is the next form of marketing. If whatever you do, whether you are a CEO or you're just a laborer or something, you must have a personal brand, you must have an online presence, and the only way you can have online presence is by creating content. And you don't have to do comedy, you don't have to do anything. It could just be as simple as showing up and talking about your life.
Powered by platforms like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and rising homegrown apps, creators rely on consistency and authenticity to grow loyal communities.
You get paid from the platforms you use, and you also get paid from like brands, collab, and everything. So that's the major way, that's the major two ways you can earn as a content creator living in Nigeria. But like if you live outside Nigeria, you have other forms of making money from content.
As the sector expands, more creators are landing brand deals and paid collaborations that convert directly to earnings.
There's a particular brand that I reached out to one time and I said, oh, I would like to, work for you, model for you. And by the time they were going to respond, they made me understand that, oh, they actually do pay their models.
One thing that people really see is the recognition, especially with major brands. I would say, I'll use myself as a big example, where, for instance, a brand big enough as Close Up recognized me. It means a whole lot to me and my personal brand.
Still, content creation remains largely informal. Many creators work without structured support from government or industry, yet they continue to build their own space and push through barriers.
While I was growing, I was doing videos that when I have to do with some brands, they were not paying, and that's because I was still growing and probably I was the one that reached out to them. But in a sense where you're not the one reaching out to them, most of the time they are the ones that pay.
There are times where people ask me, oh, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, I'm a content creator. And they're like, oh, is that a job? That kind of thing. So like, sometimes it's a bit discouraging, but like that is just a Nigerian mentality that, oh, content creation is not so, it's not a job. That's one challenge that I feel like most content creators go through.
A lot of people can become content creators. Like there is so much market, there's so much untapped niches, untapped markets in Nigeria especially, and I believe that in the coming years it's going to expand more.
With the right investments and recognition, this generation could drive a creative economy that produces jobs, revenue, and global influence. In Abuja, Rashidat Oyewole reporting for Trust TV News.
We'll go on a short break. When we return, business, foreign, and sports. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Let's get to business. The federal government of Nigeria has emerged victorious in a long-standing dispute concerning a 1981 contract for civil works at the Ajaokuta Iron and Steel Complex. The contract, awarded to a joint venture between Fuggerol Nigeria Limited and the French company Fuggerol SA, predates the creation of Kogi State at a time when the area was still part of Kwara State. The Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, announced on Friday that the federal government secured a favorable final award on November 11 from a tribunal organized under the Alternative Dispute Resolution Center of the Federal High Court. Fagbemi explained that the claimant, Fuggerol, initiated arbitration on December 12, 2022, nearly 18 years after it had terminated the contract on January 30, 2004. Through the tribunal, the company sought to compel Nigeria to pay 4 billion naira and 185 million euros, but the tribunal upheld the federal government's preliminary objection, citing that Fuggerol's claim was statute barred, lacked disclosure of a valid course of action, and that indemnity and FGN bond payment extinguished any further death. AFDB President Dr. C.D. Otar has disclosed plans to establish a Pan-African financial coordination platform designed to enhance synergy among African financial institutions and ensure more efficient use of capital. The announcement followed a consultative meeting with regional financial institutions, coming after an earlier engagement with African securities exchanges as the AFDB seeks broad industry input before finalizing the new framework. Otar said a task force will be set up to address key issues raised during consultations, including de-risking, equity strengthening, access to concessional loans, and liquidity support. He added that he would further engage private sector leaders and global rating agencies in London in mid-December after the final session of the 17th replenishment of the African Development Fund. Top executives from leading regional DFIs participated in the meeting, including the ECOWAS Bank for Investment and Development, the Eastern and Southern African Trade and Development Bank, West African Development Bank, Shelter Afrique, and the Africa Finance Corporation. Away from Nigeria, thousands of Tunisians marched in the capital on Saturday in a protest against injustice and repression, accusing President Kais Saied of cementing one-man rule by using the judiciary and police. The protest was the latest in a wave that has swept Tunisia, involving journalists, doctors, banks, and public transport systems. Thousands have also demanded the closure of a chemical plant on environmental grounds. The protesters, dressed in black to express anger and grief over what they called Tunisia's transformation into an open-air prison. They raised banners reading, "Enough repression, no fear, no terror, the streets belong to the people." The rally brought together activists, NGOs, and fragmented parties from across the spectrum in a rare display of unity in opposition to Saied. Russia has denounced sanctions and asset seizures imposed after its invasion of Ukraine as illegitimate and unilateral actions during the G20 summit's opening session on Saturday. Maxim Oreshkin, the Deputy Chief of Staff of the Russian Presidential Executive Office, also criticized the financial aid provided to Ukraine, arguing that international financial institutions are currently deviating from development finance to military expenditures. Oreshkin leads the Russian delegation in the absence of President Vladimir Putin. Putin is under an arrest warrant from the International Criminal Court over the alleged deportation and transfer of children from Ukraine to Russia and could be arrested if he came to South Africa. This statement comes as United States President Donald Trump is putting forward a controversial peace plan to end Russia's war in Ukraine. In the meantime, United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has urged G20 leaders to use their influence to tackle trade barriers. Speaking in Johannesburg, the UN chief said these barriers consistently place developing countries at a disadvantage. He also addressed the limitations of the UN in bringing about institutional change. Let's join Adini Ajishefe for Sports News.
African shotgun polo champions Nigeria and Niger Republic have secured qualification for 2026 Shotgun World Polo Championship in Baku, Azerbaijan, following impressive performances at the African Shotgun Polo Championship at Gats Polo Club in Abuja. Both teams emerged as African representatives, finishing as top two sides in the four-day event, which doubled as the African qualifiers for the global tourney. President, International Shotgun Federation, Barus Nabiev, confirmed the qualification of Nigeria and Niger Republic as African representatives. Meanwhile, President of Nigerian Shotgun Federation, Abdulkarim Jubrin, plans for a nationwide series of tournaments aimed at strengthening the team's preparation and expanding the sport's popularity in Nigeria. The African Shotgun Championship, organized by the ICF and hosted by the NCF, featured teams from Ghana, Egypt, and Niger Republic. And still in sport, Team Nigeria delivered one of our finest international performances, winning 30 medals, with 11 gold, 12 silver, and 7 bronze medals featuring 32 athletes, to finish 8th overall at the Islamic Solidarity Games in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Nigeria's best placement in the history of the Games and a massive leap from the 6 gold, 5 silver, and 3 bronze recorded in 2021. The competition featured 57 nations, with 41 reaching medal table. 16 African countries won medals. In the 18 days of fierce competition, Team Nigeria Athletics won gold in the women's 4x100-meter relay and the 4x400-meter mixed relay. The field event delivered silver in women's shot put and bronze in men's javelin. Wrestling grabbed 2 gold, 2 silver, while weightlifting stole the show with 6 gold, 4 silver, and 3 bronze. Likes of Falashade Oluwafemi won gold in para-lifting. The Riyadh Games stand as strategical build-up for Confederation of African Senior Athletics Championship, the Commonwealth Games, and the 2028 Olympic Games. Egypt led the continent, finishing 5th overall with 17 gold, 11 silver, and 17 bronze. Behind Egypt and Nigeria in the continental standings were Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Uganda, and Cameroon, completing Africa's impressive representation in the top 20. That's Sport News. I'm Adeni Ajishafe.
Congratulations to Team Nigeria. And with that, we've come to the end of News Hour tonight on Trust TV. For more of our news programs, documentaries, do well to follow us on social media platforms and on our YouTube live stream. I am Chiama Kawafo. Thank you for joining us tonight. Good night.